The Outcast's Theory. The Galactic Congress Hall on Centauri Prime loomed like a massive crystal cathedral, its translucent spires capturing the light of 3 suns and scattering it in kaleidoscopic patterns across the assembly floor. Dr. Elena Reyes stood at the entrance, her Earth Defense Force uniform a stark navy blue against the shimmering attire of 17 alien species who controlled interstellar travel throughout the known universe. The human delegate appears lost. A voice chimed through a translator. The Vexari ambassador floated past on anti-gravity discs, 12 eyes blinking in synchronization as tentacles adjusted ornate ceremonial garments. Elena straightened her shoulders. "I know exactly where I'm going, Ambassador." It had been 53 years since Earth had been welcomed into the Galactic Congress, a patronizing gesture after humans had independently developed rudimentary warp technology. For those 5 decades, humanity had been relegated to observer status, permitted to purchase outdated alien technology, but never granted access to the cutting edge. Earth vessels remained the slowest in the galaxy, limited to the nearest star systems, while alien megaships traversed hundreds of light years in days. Today, Elena planned to change that. Inside the vast chamber, representatives from every advanced civilization filled curved benches arranged in concentric circles. Elena made her way to the outermost ring where Earth's single seat waited, purposely positioned at the farthest point from the central speaking platform. Dr. Reyes, Supreme Counselor Thrix acknowledged as she took her seat. The ancient Meridian's crystalline body pulsed with blue light, the color of mild amusement. "I see Earth has sent its physicist again." Supreme Counselor, Elena nodded, ignoring the condescension. She'd grown accustomed to it over the 3 years she'd represented Earth at these quarterly technology summits. The meeting proceeded with mundane diplomatic matters. Trade routes, resource allocations, minor border disputes. Elena waited patiently, reviewing her presentation on her data tablet. Finally, after 4 hours, they'd reached the technology submissions, the real reason for these gatherings. The Council recognizes the Arcturan Confederation's proposal for improved quantum entanglement communication, Thrix announced. Elena watched as the Arcturan delegate presented impressive advances that would reduce communication delay across the galaxy from seconds to milliseconds. The Council members nodded appreciatively, already discussing implementation strategies. The Vexari Collective presents improvements to their gravitational manipulation drives, came the next announcement. Another advanced civilization, another revolutionary technology that would be shared among the elite species while Earth remained dependent on their charity. Finally, after 6 presentations, Thrix's voice carried a note of resignation. The Council recognizes Earth's submission. Dr. Elena Reyes, you have the floor. Elena stood, her heart pounding as she approached the central platform. Whispers and translated murmurs rippled through the assembly. Earth's presentations were considered entertainment, a primitive species playing at science. Distinguished representatives, Elena began, activating her holographic display. Above her, a 3-dimensional model of her theoretical drive system appeared. "I present a new approach to faster-than-light travel, the resonance fold drive." The chamber fell silent for a moment before eruptions of what passed for laughter among various species filled the air. Another human FTL proposal. The Vexari ambassador's translator couldn't hide the mockery. "Shall we expect stone wheels next?" Elena continued undeterred. Current drive technologies force vessels through spacetime, requiring exponentially more energy as speeds increase. The resonance fold drive instead creates a harmonic pattern in the fabric of spacetime itself, allowing the vessel to ride natural quantum fluctuations between points. The laughter redoubled. "Dr. Reyes," Thrix interrupted, crystalline body now pulsing yellow with impatience. "What you're proposing violates 3 fundamental principles of transdimensional physics established over 12,000 years ago by the Meridian Scientific Authority." "With respect, Supreme Counselor," Elena replied, "those principles were established without knowledge of certain quantum properties unique to materials found only on Earth. This statement silenced the room momentarily before triggering even louder reactions. The human suggests Earth possesses unique materials unknown to advanced civilizations. And Arcturan delegates' spines flared in what Alina recognized as their equivalent of derisive laughter. Perhaps they discovered a particularly special type of dirt, another voice called out, triggering more amusement. Thrix raised appendages for silence. Dr. Rice, the Council appreciates Earth's creativity. However, we must focus on scientifically viable proposals. The Borte Imperium's quantum compression drive remains our most promising direction, despite its excessive energy requirements. My calculations show the resonance fold drive would require 1/10 the energy of quantum compression, Alina persisted. If the Council would simply review my data. The submission period has ended, Thrix declared firmly. Perhaps Earth would benefit from further study of established scientific principles before your next appearance. Dismissed and humiliated, Alina gathered her materials. As delegates filed out, their conversations already turned to other matters. She noticed one alien lingering nearby, a Xanthi engineer named Zorix, whose species resembled tall, slender humanoids with iridescent skin that shifted colors with their emotions. Currently, Zorix's skin displayed patterns of deep blue and violet. Curiosity in Xanthi expressions. Your theory has interesting applications, Zorix said quietly as they exited together. The Xanthi's melodic voice carried no trace of the mockery Alina had faced inside, particularly your observations about subspace harmonics. Alina glanced around to ensure they weren't overheard. You actually read my submission. I did. The Council dismisses it because they don't understand it, Zorix replied. More importantly, they fear what it represents. Which is change. Zorix's skin rippled with amber patterns, sincerity. The current power structure maintains control through technological superiority. Your approach threatens that hierarchy. Alina studied the alien engineer thoughtfully. Why are you telling me this? Because your calculations appear sound, and I've grown tired of scientific stagnation disguised as wisdom. Zorix extended a 6-fingered hand. I believe we could refine your concept together, away from the Council's oversight. For the first time since arriving at the Galactic Congress, Alina felt a spark of hope. When do we start? 3 months later, Alina stood in an abandoned mining facility on Mars' smaller moon Deimos. Earth's Defense Force had secretly provided the location after she convinced General Santos that her partnership with Zorix could break the technological stranglehold alien civilizations held over humanity. Power coupling stabilized at 93%. Zorix reported, 6-fingered hands moving with precision over the control panel. The Xanthi's skin glowed with intense focus, shades of green and gold indicating excitement and concern simultaneously. Alina studied the pulsing core of their prototype. The resonance fold drive looked deceptively simple, a series of concentric rings surrounding a crystalline structure containing the rare earth material that made everything possible. Quantum resonium, they'd named it, a previously overlooked element in Earth's deep crust that exhibited unique properties when exposed to specific energy frequencies. The Council would never have found this, Alina said, adjusting calibrations. They've been too busy looking for exotic matter to consider ordinary elements arranged in extraordinary ways. That's always been their limitation, Zorix agreed. They seek complexity when simplicity often holds the answer. Their partnership had proven remarkably effective. Alina contributed Earth's unique perspective and the quantum resonium, while Zorix provided advanced engineering knowledge and components borrowed from Xanthi research facilities. Together, they'd accomplished in months what the Council claimed was impossible. A sudden alarm shattered their concentration. Proximity alert, the station's computer announced. Unidentified vessel approaching. Galactic Congress Registry. Alina rushed to the monitors. They found us. How? Zorix's skin darkened to charcoal gray. Fear. The quantum fluctuations from our test runs. They're distinctive enough to track if someone knows what to look for. Someone gave us away, Elena realized, thinking of the countless officials who knew pieces of their project. On the screen, a sleek enforcement vessel decelerated toward their facility, its distinctive silhouette unmistakable as a council security craft. "They'll confiscate everything," Zorix said, skin now pulsing with red urgency. Years of research classified and buried. Elena made a split-second decision. Not if we prove it works first. She moved quickly to the small prototype vessel they'd retrofitted with the drive, barely large enough for 2 passengers and necessary instrumentation. "The drive isn't fully tested," Zorix protested, following her. "The resonance calibrations are still theoretical." "Theory becomes practice today," Elena replied, powering up the shuttle's conventional engines. "We have maybe 15 minutes before they dock and place this entire facility under quarantine." Zorix hesitated only briefly before climbing aboard. "If the fold destabilizes, then we'll make scientific history as the first interspecies team to create a micro-black hole," Elena said with grim humor as she sealed the airlock. The shuttle shuddered as it detached from the facility and accelerated away from Deimos. Behind them, the Council enforcement vessel adjusted course to pursue. "They're launching interceptors," Zorix reported, monitoring their sensors while simultaneously making final adjustments to the drive. 3 minutes until they're in range for tractor beams. Elena pushed the conventional engines to maximum thrust, but they both knew it was futile. Council vessels could easily outpace Earth's fastest ships. Their only hope lay in the untested technology humming behind them. "Resonance field initiating," Zorix announced as the rings of the drive began to spin, slowly at first then faster until they blurred. The crystalline core containing the quantum resonium pulsed with increasing intensity, bathing the cabin in pulsating blue light. A warning flashed across their communications panel. "Unidentified vessel, this is Galactic Congress enforcement. Power down immediately and prepare to be boarded. This is your only warning." Elena glanced at Zorix, who nodded despite skin now almost black with anxiety. She took a deep breath and placed her hand on the activation switch. "Calculating fold coordinates," she said, inputting commands. "Targeting Alpha Centauri. Interceptors in firing range," Zorix warned. Elena looked back at the pursuing ships, now visible through the viewport as gleaming predatory shapes gaining rapidly. "For Earth," she whispered, and engaged the resonance fold drive. For one terrible moment, nothing happened. Then reality itself seemed to shimmer around them like heat waves rising from scorched earth. The stars stretched impossibly, light smearing across the viewport in streaks of prismatic color. The shuttle vibrated, the hull creaking under forces it was never designed to withstand. "Field stability dropping," Zorix shouted over the increasing roar. "The resonance pattern is fluctuating." Elena's fingers flew across the controls, making micro-adjustments based on intuition as much as science. Compensating, redirecting power to stabilize the field. The universe outside their small craft twisted, folded, and suddenly, silence. Where moments before their viewport had shown the pursuing council vessels against the backdrop of Mars and distant Earth, now a completely different star system filled their view. Alpha Centauri's binary suns blazed against the blackness of space. "We did it," Elena breathed, checking their instruments in disbelief. 4 light years in seconds. Zorix's skin had turned luminous silver, the xanthy expression of profound awe. The council was wrong. We all were. As reality settled around them, Elena knew the universe had just changed forever. Humanity's place in the galactic hierarchy would never be the same again. Defiance among the stars. Alpha Centauri's binary stars cast dual shadows across the shuttle's cockpit as Elena frantically worked to stabilize their position. The resonance fold drive hummed behind them, its crystalline core still pulsing with residual energy after accomplishing what the Galactic Congress had deemed impossible. "Drive temperature critical," Zorix reported, iridescent skin fluctuating between morning orange and amazed silver. "The resonium crystal structure is showing microfractures from the fold stress." Elena nodded grimly. Shut it down before we lose containment. We'll need to make adjustments before attempting another fold. As the drive powered down, they drifted in silence, both processing what they had just achieved. 4 light years traversed instantaneously, not by brute forcing their way through space-time, as conventional alien drives did, but by riding the quantum fluctuations that existed naturally throughout the universe. The energy efficiency is remarkable, Zorix said, studying the readouts. We used less than 17% of our power reserves for a journey that would have cost a council vessel 80% with their quantum compression technology. And we did it in a retrofitted mining shuttle with parts we cobbled together in secret, Elena added, unable to suppress a smile. Not exactly cutting-edge engineering. Their celebration was short-lived. Warning indicators flashed across their sensor panel. Multiple fold signatures detected, Zorix announced, skin darkening with concern. Council vessels incoming. Elena checked the readings in disbelief. That's impossible. They couldn't have tracked us through a fold. They didn't need to, Zorix explained. Alpha Centauri is the nearest star system to Earth. It was the logical first target for our test. They simply sent enforcement vessels to all nearby systems. Through the viewport, space rippled as 3 sleek council ships materialized, their angular forms gleaming in the binary starlight. Unlike Elena and Zorix's crude shuttle, these were purpose-built enforcement vessels, heavily armed and equipped with the latest officially sanctioned technology. Attention unauthorized vessel. A message crackled through their communication system. You have violated multiple Galactic Congress protocols regarding prohibited research and unauthorized use of experimental propulsion. Power down and prepare to be boarded. Elena exchanged a glance with Zorix. Options. The Xanthi engineer's 6 fingers danced across the control panel. The drive needs at least 30 minutes to cool before we can safely attempt another fold. Conventional engines are operational, but we can't outrun council vessels. So we fight or surrender, Elena concluded. Flight or surrender, Zorix corrected. There is no scenario where a mining shuttle outfights enforcement vessels. Elena studied the star map. Then we need somewhere to hide while the drive recovers. Alpha Centauri's complex system included not just the binary stars, but a vast asteroid field created from planetary debris. A perfect place to disappear temporarily. Elena engaged the conventional engines and set course for the densest part of the field. They're pursuing, Zorix reported as the shuttle accelerated away from the council vessels. Good, Elena replied. Their ships are larger, less maneuverable. The asteroid field gives us an advantage. The shuttle plunged into the swirling chaos of tumbling space rocks. Elena's hands moved instinctively, guiding their vessel through gaps barely wider than their hull, while the pursuing council ships were forced to reduce speed and fire defensive measures to clear their path. You've done this before, Zorix observed, skin showing impressed blue ripples as Elena executed a particularly daring maneuver between 2 colliding asteroids. Simulator training, she explained, not taking her eyes off the viewport. Earth might be behind in FTL technology, but we excel at making do with what we have. They'd penetrated deeper into the field, finally slipping into the shadow of a massive asteroid nearly a kilometer across. Elena powered down all non-essential systems to minimize their energy signature. Drive temperature decreasing, Zorix reported. 22 minutes until safe fold capability. On their sensors, they tracked the council vessels spreading out to search the asteroid field methodically. It wouldn't take long before they were discovered. I need to understand something, Elena said quietly. You're risking everything to help humanity. Why? Zorix was silent for a moment, skin rippling with thoughtful purple hues. The Xanthi were once like humans, newcomers to the galactic community. 3,000 years ago, we developed our own unique approach to gravitational manipulation. The Council confiscated our research, classified it, then released a modified version as officially approved technology centuries later. They stole your innovation, Elena realized. They controlled it, Zorix corrected, as they have done with every meaningful advancement for millennia. The Council doesn't fear technological progress, they fear technological independence. A proximity alert interrupted their conversation. One of the enforcement vessels had changed course, heading directly toward their hiding place. They've detected us, Alina confirmed, powering up engines again. Prepare for evasive maneuvers. Wait, Zorix raised a six-fingered hand. There's another option. The Xanthi's skin had turned a determined gold. I can modify the drive to create a localized resonance pulse, essentially a decoy signature that will appear as another vessel using full technology. Like a distraction. Precisely. It won't last long, but it might buy us the time we need. Elena nodded, and Zorix immediately began reconfiguring the drive systems. Minutes later, a small pod ejected from their shuttle, drifting toward the opposite side of the asteroid field. Activating resonance pulse now, Zorix announced. The pod flared with familiar blue energy, creating a quantum signature nearly identical to their drive. Almost immediately, two of the three Council vessels changed course, accelerating toward the false signal. Clever, Elena acknowledged. But we still have one pursuer. 17 minutes until fold capability, Zorix replied. We need to stay hidden just a little longer. But luck wasn't on their side. As they maneuvered deeper into the asteroid field, their shuttle scraped against an unseen fragment, sending them spinning momentarily out of control. By the time Elena stabilized their flight path, the remaining Council vessel had locked onto their position. They're hailing us again, Zorix reported. Elena opened the channel reluctantly. Dr. Reyes, a familiar voice filled their cabin. Supreme Counselor Thrix himself. Your demonstration has been most impressive, if reckless. The Council is prepared to discuss your technology under appropriate supervision. Stand down now. So you can classify our work and control who benefits. Elena responded bitterly. I've seen how the Council discusses technology from non-member species. You misunderstand, Thrix continued smoothly. The Council is willing to reconsider Earth's status in light of this achievement. A full membership could be expedited. Elena muted the transmission and looked at Zorix. Is that possible? The Xanthi's skin displayed skeptical patterns of brown and yellow. Possible, yes. But Earth would still be the most junior member, subject to Council authority in all technological matters. Your drive would be regulated, its use restricted to approved parties. And Zorix would be branded a traitor for helping us, Elena added. She unmuted the channel. Thank you for the offer, Supreme Counselor, but we decline. This is not a negotiation, Dr. Reyes. Thrix's voice hardened. Your unauthorized technology represents a potential threat to established space-time stability protocols. If you do not surrender immediately, we will be forced to disable your vessel. As if to emphasize the point, a warning shot from the Council ship lanced past their viewport, missing by mere meters. Drive status, Elena asked urgently. 13 minutes to minimum safe parameters, Zorix replied, frantically working to accelerate the cooling process. But we can attempt an emergency fold at increased risk. Defined as 30% chance of drive failure, 17% chance of catastrophic containment loss. Another shot from the Council vessel hit a nearby asteroid, shattering it and peppering their shuttle with debris. Next time they won't miss, Elena noted. I'll take those odds. Zorix nodded and began the emergency restart sequence. The drive's rings began to spin again, the crystal core glowing brighter than before despite not being fully recovered. Where are we going? Zorix asked, preparing the fold calculations. Elena considered for just a moment. Earth. It's time humanity saw what we've accomplished. The Council will expect that, Zorix warned. I'm counting on it, Elena replied with a grim smile. As the drive spun up to critical velocity, the Council vessel closed in, energy weapons charging for a disabling shot. On their communication channel, Thrix's voice continued with increasingly urgent demands. Dr. Reyes, this is your final warning. Power down your experimental drive immediately or... Alina cut the transmission. Engage fold now. Reality shimmered around them once more as the resonance fold drive activated. This time, the vibrations were more violent, the hull creaking dangerously as space-time distorted. Drive stability at 63%, Zorix reported, voice strained as the shuttle shuddered around them. Resonium crystal showing increased stress fractures. Alina diverted emergency power to the structural integrity field. Hold together. Just a few more seconds. With a final violent shudder, the universe twisted, folded, and suddenly Earth filled their viewport, blue and serene against the blackness of space. We made it, Alina breathed, checking their position. Perfect accuracy, too. High orbit above North America. But their troubles weren't over. The drive behind them emitted an ominous high-pitched whine, crystalline core now flashing erratically. Resonium crystal destabilizing, Zorix announced, skin now almost white with alarm. Field collapse imminent. Eject the drive core. Alina ordered, already initiating the emergency separation sequence. They watched as the drive module detached from their shuttle, drifting away into space. Moments later, it imploded in a brilliant flash of blue energy that briefly outshone Earth's sun before collapsing in on itself and disappearing completely. The Council was right about one thing, Zorix observed, skin gradually returning to a calmer blue. Unstable resonance fields can be dangerous, but controllable, Alina added, and worth the risk. Their sensors detected multiple fold signatures as Council vessels began arriving in Earth orbit, far more than had pursued them originally. The Galactic Congress was responding in force. They're surrounding Earth, Zorix noted with concern. This could be interpreted as an aggressive action. Alina smiled. Look again. On their communication panel, hundreds of signals were lighting up. Earth's defense fleet mobilizing in response to the sudden alien presence. More importantly, their shuttle's telemetry had been broadcasting continuously since they arrived, transmitting the complete specifications of the resonance fold drive to every major research facility on the planet. You planned this, Zorix realized, skin shifting to impressed violet. Even if they capture us, the knowledge is already spread too widely to suppress, Alina confirmed. Humanity won't be dependent on Council technology any longer. As if in response to this development, a priority communication request appeared on their panel, not from the Council vessels, but from Earth Defense Headquarters. This is General Santos to Dr. Reyes, came the voice of Alina's superior and project sponsor. Your transmission received and verified. Remarkable work, Doctor. Please stand by for escort to secure landing facility. A squadron of Earth fighters appeared alongside their shuttle, positioning themselves between the damaged vessel and the gathering Council ships. The Council won't risk open conflict, Alina explained to Zorix. Not with evidence of their technological suppression now public. What happens now? The Xanthi engineer asked, watching as Earth forces established a protective perimeter around their shuttle. Alina considered the question. Now humanity takes its rightful place among the stars, not as supplicants, but as equals, and perhaps it's time for the Galactic Congress to evolve into something better than a technological oligarchy. As they began their descent toward Earth, Alina knew the journey ahead would be challenging. The Council wouldn't surrender its power easily, and humans would need to prove they could handle advanced technology responsibly. But for the first time in 53 years, Earth's future among the stars would be determined by humanity itself, not by the dismissive judgment of those who had underestimated them for too long. On the shuttle's communication panel, another transmission appeared, this one from Supreme Counselor Thrix, requesting urgent diplomatic discussions. Alina smiled as she authorized the connection. The conversation was about to change dramatically.